She judged me with every dish, while I fell in love with every glance. Who would win, the chef or the critic? Sophia Reynolds was the most famous and feared food critic at the New York Times at 30 years old. With her long blonde hair, green eyes, and elegant posture, she commanded attention, but her real power lay in her refined palate and sharp pen. For 8 years, Sophia had been the queen of the gastronomy world, where one of her reviews could either elevate a restaurant to stardom or destroy it completely. She was said to be even more influential than the Michelin Guide. Sophia's working style was shrouded in secrecy. She never used her real name, making reservations under different identities. Restaurants tried to identify her, but Sophia's art of disguise was so masterful that no one could recognize her. That is, until she finished her meal and left, only for a devastating review to appear in the next day's newspaper. That Tuesday morning, her editor Elena Martinez called her into the office. "Sophia, I have a special assignment for you. There's a newly opened restaurant in Manhattan called Passione. Italian cuisine, Chef Marco Delacroix. It opened 6 months ago, and getting a reservation has become impossible." "What's special about it?" Sophia asked, sipping her coffee. "Chef Marco is young but very talented. He's from Sicily, trained in Rome. He was sous chef at Le Bernardin, then opened his own restaurant. Rumor is he's a candidate for a Michelin star." Sophia's eyes lit up. Making lightning reviews of newly opened restaurants was her specialty. "When?" "This week. But be careful, Sophia. This chef, they say he's very passionate if he figures out who you are in his kitchen." "Elena, I've been doing this for 8 years. No one has ever figured me out. This time is different. They say Marco is very observant, very detail-oriented." Sophia smiled. She loved a challenge. That evening, Sophia made a reservation at Passione restaurant. She used the name Sarah Williams and listed my boyfriend David as her companion. David was actually Sophia's photographer friend who helped her on these kinds of missions. Passione was a small but elegant restaurant in Little Italy. With a capacity of 50 people, it had warm lighting and authentic Italian decor. When Sophia entered, she immediately found the ambiance impressive. Jazz music was playing. Candlelight created a romantic atmosphere. The hostess led them to a corner table. Perfect spot. She could see the kitchen, but remained out of sight. Sophia began observing her surroundings. The service appeared professional, waiters were well-trained, wine selection was impressive. "Good evening, I'm Alessandro, your server tonight," said a handsome young Italian man. "Chef Marco has prepared a special tasting menu tonight, 7 courses, wine pairing included." "Sounds perfect," Sophia said, maintaining her Sarah identity. David whispered, "Sophia, the chef came out of the kitchen. 3 o'clock direction." Sophia casually turned and saw Chef Marco. Around 35 years old, tall, dark-haired, with intense brown eyes. His white chef coat fit perfectly. His movements were very confident. Most striking were his hands, strong yet elegant, the hands of a true artist. Marco was checking tables in the dining room. He briefly spoke with each customer, asking if they were satisfied with their meals. When he approached Sophia's table, he made eye contact. "Good evening. Welcome to Passione. I'm Chef Marco. Is this your first time here?" Sophia's heart raced. This man had a very intense aura. "Yes, we heard amazing things about your restaurant." "Thank you. I hope you'll enjoy our culinary journey tonight. Anything specific you'd like to avoid? Allergies? Preferences?" "No restrictions. We're adventurous eaters." Marco smiled. "Perfect. I'll take special care of your table tonight." The first course arrived, crudo di ricciola con agrumi. Raw yellowtail, citrus segments, olive oil, micro herbs. When Sophia took her first bite, she was shocked. The fish was perfectly fresh, citrus-balanced, olive oil of exceptional quality. This was not amateur work. "This is incredible," she whispered to David. Second course, risotto al nero di seppia. Squid ink risotto, perfectly creamy texture, hint of seafood flavor. Sophia's expert palate analyzed every layer, rice perfectly al dente, seasoning impeccable. Marco came to the table again. "How is everything so far?" "Exceptional," Sophia said sincerely. "The risotto, perfect texture." Marco's eyes lit up. "You know risotto, most people don't understand the difficulty." I appreciate good cooking." "I can see that. Your palate seems very refined." Sophia was swimming in dangerous waters. This man was very perceptive. Third course, agnello alla erba. Herb-crusted lamb, rosemary juice, seasonal vegetables. Lamb perfectly pink, herbs fragrant, sauce complex but balanced. Sophia almost moaned. This was Michelin star level cooking. Throughout the meal progression, Marco kept coming to the table. He spoke passionately about each course, explaining the source of ingredients and preparation techniques. Sophia was fascinated. This man wasn't just a chef, he was a true artist. "Where did you learn to cook like this?" Sophia asked. "My nonna in Sicily, then culinary school in Rome, finally Le Bernardin in New York." But real education comes from passion, from understanding ingredients, Marco paused, from understanding people who eat your food. These words seemed directed at Sophia. Marco appeared to be really seeing her. The wine pairing was exceptional. Perfectly matched wines with each course, mostly Italian but some French selections. Sophia's wine knowledge was extensive, but Marco's selections were surprising and sophisticated. Fourth course, Branzino in crosta di sale, whole sea bass baked in salt crust, filleted tableside by Marco himself. This was a performative element, but Marco's knife skills were impressive. Fish perfectly cooked, moist but not overdone. "You have beautiful knife technique," Sophia said. Marco smiled. "The knife is an extension of the chef's soul. You must treat ingredients with respect, with love." Fifth course, pasta course. Handmade tortellini in brodo di Parmigiano. Clear Parmesan broth, delicate pasta packets filled with ricotta and herbs. This was poetry in food form. Sophia now realized the problem. This review wasn't going to be easy. Marco's cooking was exceptional. The restaurant experience flawless data, but worse than that, she found herself attracted to Marco. "Sarah, you seem very knowledgeable about food," Marco said while serving the sixth course. "Are you in the hospitality industry?" I just love good food. Your questions are very specific, very professional." Sophia went into panic mode. Marco was becoming suspicious. Sixth course, duck breast, cherry gastrique, potato fondant. Perfectly executed, restaurant-quality presentation. Sophia's palate was overwhelmed. This was some of the best cooking she'd experienced in years. Final course, tiramisu, but not traditional. Deconstructed version, espresso soil, mascarpone mousse, ladyfinger tuile, creative yet respectful to the original. Perfect ending. Marco personally served the final course. "So Sarah, what do you think of our little restaurant?" "It's incredible, really exceptional. Thank you. You eat very thoughtfully, you analyze every bite, every flavor. It's rare to see someone so attentive." Sophia's alarm bells were ringing. Marco was definitely suspicious. "Well, when food is this good..." "Yes, but there's something else. Your palate, your questions, your observations, they're very professional." David had become nervous. "We should probably go." "Of course," Marco said. "But Sarah, I hope you'll come back soon. I'd love to cook for you again." During the handshake, Marco's touch had an electric effect on Sophia. This was dangerous territory. In the car, David spoke. "Sophia, that was close. He almost figured you out." "I know. But David, that was incredible food. Best meal I've had in months." "So what will you write?" Sophia was in conflict. Professional duty versus personal feelings. Marco was an exceptional chef. The restaurant deserved a Michelin star. But at the same time, she was attracted to him, and this could cloud her judgment. The next day, Sophia sat down to write the review at the office. Normally, this would be easy. Analyze the experience, rate different aspects, write a balanced critique. But this time was different. "Elena, this review is going to be difficult." "Why? Bad experience?" "No, the opposite. Incredible experience. But what?" The chef was very suspicious, almost figured out who I am. "Well, that's an occupational hazard. What matters is the food quality." Sophia began writing. "Passione represents everything that makes Italian cuisine extraordinary. Chef Marco Delacroix demonstrates technical mastery combined with deep understanding of traditional flavors." But while writing, her mind kept going to Marco. Those intense brown eyes, his passionate way of talking about food, how he'd noticed her professional palate. The review turned out positives, but Sophia didn't use her usual devastating style. More balanced, appreciative. Elena was surprised. "Sophia, this is very positive for you. Usually you find something to criticize." "The food was exceptional, service perfect, ambiance authentic. What should I criticize?" "I don't know. Price? Portion size? Something?" "Elena, this restaurant deserves recognition." The review was published on Thursday. By Friday morning, Passione's reservation book was completely full. Marco's life completely changed overnight. Sophia made a decision to send an anonymous thank you note to the restaurant. It was dangerous, but she was curious about Marco's reaction. The note read, "Dear Chef Marco, your cuisine touched my soul. Thank you for reminding me why I fell in love with food. A grateful diner." When Marco read the note, he immediately thought of Sophia, Sarah, that mysterious woman with the refined palate. Could she be behind the review? Sophia couldn't resist. She decided to return to the restaurant a week later, this time with a different identity. Emma Thompson, solo diner, using a business meeting as an excuse. This time, Marco immediately noticed her. "Emma, welcome back to Passione." Sophia was confused. "I'm sorry? You were here last week." "Sarah, right? Different hair, different clothes, but same beautiful green eyes." Caught. Sophia's plan had failed completely. I don't know what you mean." Marco smiled mysteriously. "Please, sit. I have a special menu prepared for you tonight." Sophia felt trapped but was also curious. What was Marco planning? This time, Marco personally served her table. First course. This is for the mysterious lady who sees everything but reveals nothing. The dish was incredible, an innovative take on classic Italian flavors. But more concerning, Marco kept standing at the table trying to engage in intimate conversation. "So Emma, Sarah, what do you really do?" "I told you, I just love food." "No, you're a professional. Your questions are too specific, your palate too educated. You're either a chef or," Marco paused dramatically, "a food critic." Sophia's heart stopped. "That's ridiculous." "Is it?" The New York Times published a glowing review about us this week. Very detailed, very professional, and the mysterious reviewer mentioned soul-touching cuisine. Marco smiled. "Same words from your note." Game over. Sophia was completely exposed. "Marco, I can explain." "No need. I know exactly who you are. Sophia Reynolds, Times food critic, terror of the restaurant industry. How did your reputation precedes you. Plus, I have contacts in the industry." The description matched perfectly. Beautiful blonde, green eyes, incredible palate, devastating reviews. Sophia was defeated. "So what now? Angry chef scene? Kitchen confrontation?" Marco laughed. "Angry? Sophia, you gave me the best review of my career. My reservation book is full for 2 months. Why would I be angry? Because I lied. I came here under false identity. You did your job. I respect that." Marco leaned closer. "But I'm curious, was the review purely professional, or did personal feelings influence it?" Dangerous question. Sophia decided to be honest. "Both. Your cooking is exceptional. But yes, I was affected by more than just the food." "Good, because I've been thinking about you nonstop since that night." "Marco, this is complicated. I'm a critic. You're a chef. Conflict of interest." "Maybe, but I don't care about complications." Marco's voice dropped lower. "I care about how you made me feel, how my food made you feel." So, the sexual tension at the table was palpable. Sophia knew she was in dangerous territory but couldn't resist. "What do you want from me?" "Dinner. Real dinner, not professional obligation. Just Marco and Sophia, not chef and critic." "That's impossible. If people find out, then we'll be careful." Sophia thought for a long time. It was a career risk, but her attraction to Marco was undeniable. One dinner, private place, away from the restaurant world. "My apartment. Tomorrow night, I'll cook for you personally." It was a dangerous move, but Sophia accepted. Marco's apartment was in Soho, an industrial loft converted to sophisticated living space. The kitchen was professional grade but intimate. Open plan, dim lighting, jazz music playing. "Welcome to my real kitchen," Marco said. "No waiters, no customers, no critics, just us." Sophia was nervous but also excited. "What are you making?" "Something special, something personal." Marco started cooking, his movements fluid and confident. "This is a dish my nana taught me. Never on the restaurant menu. Too personal." Watching Marco cook was an intimate experience. The way he handled ingredients, tasted sauces, adjusted seasoning, pure artistry. Sophia was fascinated. "Can I help?" "You can taste." Marco offered her a spoon with sauce. "Tell me what you think." The tasting moment was intense. Marco holding the spoon, Sophia leaning close, eye contact while she tasted. Electric moment. "Perfect," Sophia whispered. "You sure? Not too much basil?" "Perfect," Sophia repeated, but she wasn't talking about the sauce anymore. Marco understood. He moved closer, one hand still holding the spoon, the other touching Sophia's cheek. "Sophia, this is crazy. I know. If anyone finds out, I don't care anymore." The first kiss happened right there in the kitchen, schloss, with the smell of garlic and herbs around them. Passionate, desperate, months of tension releasing. "This is dangerous," Sophia whispered between kisses. "The most beautiful things are dangerous," Marco replied. Dinner forgotten, they spent the night talking, kissing, exploring this unexpected connection. Sophia felt alive in a way she hadn't for years. Marco brought out a passionate side she'd buried under her professional critic persona. The morning after, reality hit. Sophia had crossed a major professional line. A relationship with a chef she'd reviewed was an ethical violation. "Marco, last night was incredible, but you're scared. I could lose my job, my reputation, everything I've built. And I could lose my restaurant if the relationship goes wrong. But Sophia," Marco took her hands, "some things are worth the risk." They decided to continue secretly, a dangerous game, but neither could resist. For the next month, they maintained elaborate secrecy. Sophia would visit Marco's apartment late at night. He would cook private dinners, they would talk about food, life, dreams. Sexual tension mixed with intellectual connection, creating an intoxicating combination. Marco was as passionate a lover as he was a passionate chef. He made love like he cooked, with intensity, creativity, attention to every detail. Sophia discovered pleasure she didn't know existed. "You taste everything so completely," Marco would whisper during intimate moments. "Food, wine, pleasure, you're incredible." But the secrecy took its toll. Sophia constantly worried about discovery. Elena began noticing her behavior change. "Sophia, you seem different lately. Happier but also distracted." "Different how?" "Your reviews are less sharp, almost gentle. Food critics aren't supposed to be gentle." Warning sign. Sophia's professional judgment was definitely being affected. Meanwhile, Marco's sous chef Alessandro had become suspicious. "Chef, who is this woman you're seeing?" "Very secretive." "Private matter, Alessandro. But she comes late at night, leaves early morning, never see her face clearly. Mysterious, mind your own business." But Alessandro was worried about Marco. The restaurant business was delicate, reputation was everything. The wrong woman could destroy everything they'd built. The crisis came unexpectedly. Vittoria Sant'Angelo, a famous chef from the competing restaurant Rivale, was someone from Marco's past. They'd had a relationship during their Le Bernardin days, which ended badly when Marco left for his own restaurant. Victoria heard rumors about Marco's mysterious girlfriend and decided to investigate. She had connections throughout the restaurant industry, including at the Times newspaper. "I need information about Sophia Reynolds," Victoria told her contact at the Times. "Who she's seeing, where she goes, anything unusual." The information came back quickly. "She's been acting strange lately, leaving early, coming late, very private about her social life." Victoria put the pieces together. Marco, mysterious girlfriend, Sophia's behavior change. Could the food critic be sleeping with the chef she reviewed? If true, it was a massive scandal. Victoria could destroy both their careers. She hired a private investigator to follow Sophia. Photos came back within a week. Sophia entering Marco's building late at night, leaving early morning. Compromising images. Victoria's revenge would be sweet. Marco had left her for career ambition. Now she'd destroy that career. But first, she wanted a confrontation. Victoria appeared at Passione during lunch service. "Marco, we need to talk." "Victoria, what are you doing here?" "Business proposition, or maybe business warning." They talked privately in Marco's office. Victoria showed the photos. "Interesting girlfriend you have. Sophia Reynolds, Times critic, same woman who gave you that glowing review." Marco's face went pale. "Where did you get these? Doesn't matter. What matters is what I do with them." "What do you want?" "Closure, Marco. You left me without explanation, broke my heart for restaurant ambition. Now your ambition could destroy you." "Victoria, that was 2 years ago. We both moved on." "I never moved on. But I can be reasonable, end the relationship with the critic, and the photos disappear." "And if I refuse, photos go to newspaper editors, restaurant association, food industry publications. Both your careers finished." Marco was furious but helpless. Victoria had them trapped. That night, Marco told Sophia everything. She was devastated. "How could we be so careless?" "Sophia, we can fight this." Victoria is jealous, vindictive. "Marco, she's right. What we did was wrong. Professional misconduct. But we love each other. Love doesn't excuse ethical violations." Sophia was crying. "I have to end this." "No, we'll find another way." But Sophia had already decided. "It's over, Marco. I'm sorry." Heartbroken separation. Both tried to return to normal life but failed. Marco's cooking suffered, restaurant quality declined. Sofia's reviews became harsh again but lacked their previous passion. Alessandro noticed immediately. Chef, what happened? Your food, it's different, nothing. Focus on your station. But Alessandro knew. Marco was heartbroken, cooking without soul. Sofia was also struggling. Elena was concerned about her performance. Your recent reviews are strange, Sofia. Either too harsh or too gentle. No consistency. I'm fine, Elena. No, you're not. What's going on? Sofia couldn't explain without revealing everything. 2 months passed in misery. Marco's restaurant was losing customers, reviews declining. Sofia's professional reputation remained intact, but her personal life was empty. Then crisis struck. Victoria planted a fake story about Passione using expired ingredients. Completely false but damaging to reputation. Health department investigation, media coverage, customer confidence shattered. Marco was desperate. The restaurant was facing closure. Everything he'd worked for was being destroyed. Sofia saw the news coverage and couldn't stand watching Marco destroyed by Victoria's lies. Professional ethics versus personal loyalty conflict. She decided to act. If the relationship was already over, at least she could save his career. Sofia investigated Victoria's claims, found evidence of fabrication, used her Times connections to expose Victoria's false accusations. The article was published, Rival Chef's False Claims Exposed, Investigation Reveals Fabricated Health Violations. Marco's restaurant was vindicated, but the damage was already done. Many customers were lost. Business was struggling. Marco called Sofia after the article was published. Thank you. You didn't have to do that. It was the right thing to do. I couldn't let Victoria destroy you with lies. Sofia, I miss you every day. I miss you too, but nothing's changed. We still can't be together. Can we at least talk? One conversation? Against her better judgment, Sofia agreed to meet. Coffee shop in neutral territory, both looking tired, heartbroken. Marco, what we had was beautiful, but impossible. Why impossible? Because of job titles? Because of professional ethics, trust, credibility. Sofia, what if I changed careers, left the restaurant business? You'd give up everything for me, I'd give up everything except you. No, your cooking is a gift to the world. I can't let you sacrifice that. Then you change careers. Food criticism is who I am. It seemed hopeless. Both loved each other but couldn't find a solution. Maybe in a different life, Sofia whispered. Maybe, Marco agreed sadly. But the story wasn't over. Alessandro had been watching the situation, caring about Marco's happiness. He was also an ambitious sous chef, ready for a head chef position. Alessandro proposed a solution. Chef, what if you step back from day-to-day operations? I become head chef, you become consultant, recipe developer. Behind-the-scenes role. What difference would that make? You wouldn't be the chef she reviewed anymore. Different role, different relationship. The idea was intriguing, but complex. Would it be enough separation to allow the relationship? Marco discussed it with Sofia. It's a creative solution, but would the newspaper accept it? I don't know. I'd have to disclose everything to Elena, face the consequences. Are you willing to do that? Sofia thought for a long time. Yes, if you're willing to step back from the kitchen. For you? Yes. The plan was risky for both. Marco was giving up his head chef role. Sofia was facing potential career damage, but they decided to try. Elena's reaction shocked them. Sofia, I knew something was going on. You've been different for months. Are you firing me? No. But we need full disclosure. Public statement about the relationship, clear ethical guidelines going forward. And if the public reacts badly, then we handle it. Good journalists make mistakes. What matters is how they handle them. The public statement was published. Times Food Critic discloses relationship, ethical guidelines, and transparency. The reaction was mixed. Some criticized Sofia for the ethical lapse, others appreciated the honesty. The restaurant industry was divided, but something unexpected happened. The public was fascinated by the love story. The romance between critic and chef captured imaginations. Media coverage was extensive but mostly positive. Food critic and chef love recipe headlines appeared. Interview requests flooded in. Marco and Sofia decided to be open about their relationship. Joint interviews, cooking shows, public appearances. They turned a potential scandal into a publicity opportunity. Restaurant business improved. People wanted to experience food that inspired such passion. Reservations increased. Sofia's credibility recovered through transparency and continued quality work. Elena supported her through the transition. Sometimes honesty is the best policy, Elena told her. 6 months later, Marco proposed. Not in the restaurant, not with elaborate production. A simple moment at home, cooking together. Sofia, will you marry me? Yes, but only if you cook for me every day. Deal. The wedding was a small, intimate ceremony. Food industry colleagues attended, including some who had initially criticized them. The love story had won hearts. Honeymoon in Italy, visiting Marco's family in Sicily. Nana approved of Sofia immediately. She understands food with her heart, Nana told Marco in Italian. This is a good woman. Returning to New York, they opened a cooking school together, Delacroix Reynolds Culinary Institute. Teaching passion for food, ethical approach to criticism, love of the craft. Sofia continued food criticism part-time. Marco developed recipes and taught. Perfect balance of careers and relationship. 5 years later, their cookbook Love and Food, A Critic and Chef's Journey became a bestseller. A Food Network show followed. We proved love and professional ethics can coexist, Sofia would say in interviews. The secret ingredient is honesty, Marco would add. 10 years later, they had a daughter, Isabella. She grew up in the kitchen, learning to taste, to appreciate quality, to understand food as art. Will she be a chef or critic? People would ask. She'll be whatever she chooses, Sofia would answer. We'll just teach her to follow her passion. 20 years later, Isabella opened her own restaurant, combining her parents' legacies. Food with integrity, criticism with compassion. Marco and Sofia, now in their 50s, still cook together every night, still tasted each other's creations with the same passion as their first meeting. Remember when you thought I was just another chef to review? Marco would tease. Remember when you thought you could hide from a food critic? Sofia would counter. Best mistake we ever made, like they'd say together. Their love story became legend in the food world. Proof that professional boundaries shouldn't prevent human connection. That love, like great food, is worth fighting for. 20 years later, Marco and Sofia had become the most beloved couple in the gastronomy world. After passing their restaurant empire to Isabella, they embarked on a world tour. Sitting in a small bistro in Paris, drinking wine, Sofia looked at Marco. If I had told you who I was that first night, what would have happened? Marco smiled. I probably would never have had the courage to cook for you, and I wouldn't have been able to evaluate you so objectively. Sometimes the best recipes, Marco said, come from unexpected ingredients. And the best love stories, Sofia added, come from professional disasters. They kissed each other. 20 years later, still the same passion, the same love, because some flavors are never forgotten, and some loves, like a perfect dish, only get better with time.